Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to the first part of the lecture number 11 for the course of Control System series. My name is Engineer Jafar Ali and I am instructor for this course. So let's start some recapitulation of the last lecture. In the last week, we have discussed about the response of a system, both of the first order system and the second order system. And we learned about the second order system in the later part of the lecture number 10. We learned about that how second order system is being evaluated. There are four categories among which we can divide the second order system. The first one is overdam, the second one is a critical dam, the third one is underdam, and the last and the fourth one is undam. This zeta is basically this is zeta, and this is the damping ratio of any of the given control system or transfer function. And there are two roots of second order system. You know that the roots of there are two roots of the second order system, and depending upon the value of the zeta, you can find out that whether the system is overdamped, critical damped, undamped, or underdamped. If the value of zeta is greater than 1, you can say that the system is overdamped, means it is finding its way to the settling time over a large period. You can see that the settling time has achieved this at this point. Similarly, when the zeta value is equal to 1, you can say that the roots of the system are basically overlapped, or you can say overridden, and the system is said to be critically damped. You can see that this system is critically damped. Similarly, if the value of zeta is between 0 and 1, you can say that the system has two poles on the left hand side of the plane, and these two poles are basically complex conjugate of each other. You can see that this is nothing but the imaginary part, and for that reason the system is basically, the roots of the system is on the imaginary axis as well. So the system is said to be underdamped. And if the value of zeta is equal to 0, it means the system has two poles. We are talking about the second order system. So the value of zeta indicates that the system has two poles, one on the, and both are these two poles are on the imaginary axis. You can see that if you put zeta is equal to 0 in the given equation, the system is basically depending upon only two poles which are on the imaginary axis, and the system is basically undamped. The input will be the same as the output, so there will be no damping. So these are some important formulas that we will be using in today's lecture, inshallah. These are all because of the numerical portion, and you know that this WD, that is the damping natural frequency, is basically is equal to the natural frequency 1 minus zeta square. Zeta is the damping ratio. Similarly, this is alpha, and alpha is equal to zeta into omega, and this is a numerical value of the this alpha. Sorry. The beta is basically the inverse or tangent inverse of this damping frequency and this alpha. Alpha is nothing but the product of zeta and omega, and that is the damping ratio and the natural frequency. The third important formula is basically the rise time, and it is equal to phi minus beta divided by the damping frequency. These are the important formulas that you have to, and the derivation of these formula will be also given to you in the book. So if you want to learn how these formula are derived, so you can take the help from your book. But this is not the scope, and I will recommend, if you want to, I will appreciate that you will, if at least one time you have to derive this equation just for the learning purposes. This is the rise time, and the peak time will be is equal to the value of pi, that is 3.14, divided by the damping natural frequency or damped natural frequency. The fourth important formula is basically the maximum overshoot, denoted by MP, and it is equal to this thing. This formula is mentioned over here, and the last thing is basically the settling time, which is equal to 4 divided by zeta into omega n, that is basically nothing but alpha. You see that you can also apply this formula is equal to 4 divided by alpha. this formula is also applicable over here. And if the this is basically two things, two formulas, but mostly in the books there will be 2%. And if it is mentioned that there is 5% of criteria for the settling time, you know about settling time. Settling time is the time basically at which let's say this is the value, this is the settling value. Let me draw it for you. Let's say the settling value is 100. Sorry, this is overshoot. If the settling value is 100 and the criteria is basically 2%, it means the value, the settling time will be achieved if the value from 98 and 102 is constant. If this signal get at equilibrium at 98 and from 98 to 102, so with that we will say that the system has achieved its settling time. The signal has been settled, and the time required for this settling is basically known as the settling time. Similarly, if the criteria is 5%, so the time required to the signal to reach and stay in the value of if the value is 100, so the settling time would be from 95, the time required for the signal to stay in 95 and 105. So this is the 5% criteria, and for 5% criteria the formula become this. And mostly in the books you will see that there are different books, but the book we are following is basically mostly composed of this 2% criterion. So both of these are applicable according to the given condition of the criteria. So let's start with a very basic example. Consider a second order system with the zeta value is equal to 0.6 and the natural frequency is basically 5 radian per second. Now we have to find the rise time, the peak time, the maximum overshoot, the settling time when the system is subjected to a unit step input. You know that the unit step input is nothing but 1 over s in the time domain, in the s domain. So from the given values of zeta and omega n, now we will find different things that are basically applicable and targeted for our this numerical. So the first thing that we want to find is basically the damped natural frequency, that is WD. And you know in the previous class we discussed about the formula of this damped natural frequency is equal to the natural frequency multiplied by 1 minus zeta square under the root. So when you apply the values of omega n over here, that is 5, and this zeta is equal to 0.6, you get the value of this omega d, and this turns out to be 4. Now if you found out the value of this omega d, that is 4, you can easily find out the value of this alpha, and alpha is equal to this zeta multiplied by omega n. So omega n was given to you 5 and this zeta was basically 0.6. So if you multiply this 5 into 0.6, you get 3. So the value of alpha has turned out to be 3. Now we have to find the rise time. So the rise time is basically 5 minus beta divided by this WD. But we have to first find the value of the beta. So beta is equal to tangent inverse this WD divided by alpha or zeta omega n. So if you divide this value 4, this zeta this omega d is basically 4. It is we have found out over here this thing, and the alpha is basically 3. So if you divide 4 by 3 and then take the tangent inverse of that, you will get the value of 0.93. So we have got the value of beta, and if you put this value of beta over here, you can find the rise time, which has turned out to be 0.55. We have done nothing, we have just found out the value of this beta and we have put this value over here at beta's place, and the rise time is basically turned out to be 0.55 seconds. Now second thing is the peak time. For the peak time, you know the formula. In the previous table it was mentioned that phi divided by omega d. So phi is basically 3.14 and this omega d is basically 4. So the value of this peak time turns out to be 0.785 second. Similarly, the maximum overshoot is basically the percentage in the percentage value, but if you want to find out the decimal value, this is the formula for decimal value. If this multiply by this by 100, you get the percentage. So by putting the formula, the values in the formula, the value of the alpha and the value of omega d and the value of phi. So the value of alpha was 3 from here, the value of omega d was 4 from here, and phi is basically nothing but 3.14. So if you put the value over here and multiply it and divide it and take the exponential to the power of this, you can find the value of the maximum overshoot. This turns out to be 0.95, and if you again multiply it by 100, you will get the percentage of it. So the percentage is basically 9.5. The settling time is basically given that 2% criteria, so the formula becomes 4 divided by this alpha, and if you divide this 4 divided by this 3, you can get the value of settling time, that is 1.33 seconds. And if it is not mentioned that the criteria is not mentioned in the question, so by default you have to find both of these. So there is no much difficulty if it is not mentioned. Let's take this example. In this example, it is not mentioned that which criteria should be used. So you can find both of these using different formulas. It's nothing difficult. You just have to remember these two formulas for the settling time in both of the criteria, that is 2% and the 5%. So you will have to find out both of these in the exam if it is asked and it is not mentioned over here in the question. So for the 2% criteria, the settling time will be 1.33, and for the 5% criteria, the settling time will be around 1 second exactly. So this was the question, and it basically showed the response of the system, that when the system is going to be reach its peak time, when the system is going to be reached as the rise time, what is the value of beta, what is the value of alpha, what is the value of settling time, percentage overshoot. This is all the system response that we get from a system when we apply a simple input. So let's take another example for a system given in the figure that is on the next slide. We have to find the values of the gain k and the velocity feedback constant kh, so that the maximum overshoot in a unit step response is 0.2 and the peak time is 1 second. So with the values of k and kh, we have to obtain the rise time, the settling time, and we have to assume that this is basically mechanical model. So do not worry about that. Let's start with the numerical. This is the diagram over here. So the first thing that we have to find is the maximum overshoot. The formula of maximum overshoot is mentioned over here, and this value must be 0.2. Because of this given value, it is given that the maximum overshoot response is equal to 0.2. It is mentioned in the question. So now you know that this is equal to 2. So if you find out the value of zeta from this equation, we have done nothing. We have taken this exponential to the digital form. This is in the exponential form, and we have derived into this linear equation, and after that we have to find the value of zeta from this. You know that you have to take the square on the both hand sides to cancel the this and square root, and then you have to make arrangements to find the value of this zeta. So the zeta turns out to be 0.456. Now once we have found out the value of zeta, this is the value of zeta, you have to just find the value of different parameters. So the first thing basically is the peak time, and you know that the peak time is equal to phi divided by omega d, and omega d is given to be 3.14 because the value is mentioned that the peak time is 1. You see that this value is basically the peak time is equal to 1. So if the peak time is equal to 1, so this alpha, this omega d will be equal to this phi, and phi is equal to 3.14, so omega d will also be equal to 3.14. So now you have to we have found out the value of zeta and omega d from the given question using these two formulas that we discussed in the previous slides. So since the value of zeta is 0.456 and omega n, we can find the value of omega n. So omega n is equal to nothing but omega d divided by 1 minus zeta square. So if we put the value of this omega d over here and the value of zeta in the denominator and solve this equation, we can find the value of the natural frequency, that is Wn, that is 3.53. Now we got the value of this omega n, and it turns out to be 3.53. Now, since this natural frequency of omega n is equal to under root k by j, from this equation we can see that k by j will be the equation for this omega n. So we can find the value of k from this equation. We just have to equate this omega n is equal to, the first step will be omega n is equal to under root k by j, and to find the value of k we will have to separate this k from this side. So we will take the square, so that is why it is square over here, and this j will be then multiplied over this side. So you will get this equation j omega n square, and it is mentioned in the question that j is equal to 1. We have to assume that this j is equal to 1. So if you put the value of j is equal to 1, we will get the value of k, that is equal to omega n square, and omega n was 3.53. So if you take the square, it turns out to be 12.5 Newton meter. So this is the value of that constant k. Now from the equation we can find the value of kh. This equation is mentioned in the book as well, and I will upload the picture over here in the portal actually. So from there you can see that the value of kh is equal to 2 kj zeta divided by k minus beta. I have intentionally put the numerical of this mechanical system so that you do not forget the mathematical modeling that we did regarding the mechanical portion. So after you put the values of k, j, b and k, we can find and zeta as well, because we have found out the value of zeta. We can find out the value of this kh, and this kh basically turns out to be 0.178, and this kh basically is the constant. This is a constant, that is velocity feedback constant kh. This is the velocity feedback constant, and the value for this is basically from this equation. Now we have to find out the value of the rise time. So you know that the value of the rise time is equal to phi minus beta divided by omega d, and beta is equal to again tangent inverse of omega d by this alpha, and you know that the value of omega d by alpha turns out to be 1.95, because we have found out zeta and omega n from this side, and from omega n zeta and this omega d. This is zeta and this is omega d. And if you found out the value of zeta and omega, if you multiply this zeta with omega n, you get the value of alpha. So alpha is equal to zeta into zeta into omega n. So this alpha turns out to be this thing, and we have got both of these value, and this omega d is also mentioned in the previous slide. So if you find out the value of this beta, you get 1.10. Then you put this 1.10 over here, you get the value of the rise time, that is 0.65 seconds. And settling time, again for both of the criteria, for 2% criteria the settling time will be 2.48, and for the 5% criteria the values will be the value of the settling time will be 1.86 second. So you can get the value from this equation actually. So this is the numerical that is concluded over here. We have found out the settling time, we have found out the rise time, and we have found out the value of kh, k. These four things were asked, but to find these four things we started from the very basics, that is to find the value of zeta and to find the value of omega d, and after that we found the value of omega n as well, and after that we found k, kh, the peak time and the rise time and the settling time. So this was the question number 2. And I specifically specifically taken an example of a mechanical system, so that you have a clear idea that what is the things going on. So now let's move towards the next question. For a given system, in the subject, the input is basically nothing but a unit step input, and the system output responds to a figure in the second slide. This is figure B. And we have to determine the value of k and t from the respective curve. So we have to find out the values of this k, constant k, and the value of this t from the given curve. So From the given curve, you can see that the maximum overshoot is basically 25.4%, and this value corresponds to the value of zeta is equal to 0.4. And how do we know that this is the percentage overshoot? If you multiply it by 100, you get the percentage overshoot, that is 25.4. So 25.4, and if you find the value of if you have this maximum overshoot, you know that you can find the value of zeta from this equation, from this equation. From this equation you can find the value of zeta. If you put 25.4 over here and you solve this for zeta, you will get the value of zeta, and it will basically turns out to be 0.4. Now we and from the curve we know that that peak time is equal to 3. You can see that the peak time, this is the peak time, the maximum peak time, and this is equal to 3. The peak time is equal to 3. So if the peak time is equal to 3 and you want to find out the value of omega n, you can use this formula. You know that the peak time is equal to pi divided by the damped natural frequency, and this damped natural frequency is equal to the angular frequency, undamped natural frequency multiplied by square root of 1 minus zeta square. So if you put the value of this zeta over here, that is 0.4, and you solve it, and you will get this thing, and you know that this peak time is equal to 3, so you have to equate it with 3. Now just you have to do is the cross multiplication, bring this phi into the denominator, bring this omega n into the numerator over here, and bring this 3 into the denominator, and then solve. You will get the value of omega n, and it will turn out to be 1.14. And from the block diagram it is mentioned that the Cs divided by R over S, this is the block diagram, and you know that this is a feedback, unity feedback. So the overall transfer function, you know that recall your block diagram reduction method, it will be equal to this whole thing, this numerator, let's call it G. So G divided by 1 plus, because this is minus 1 plus G, and H will be equal to 1 because this is unity feedback. So put the value of this K, this G over here as well as in the denominator. If you put the value, you will get something like this. The value will turn out to be this thing, K divided by T S square plus S plus K. So if you from which we can get this, we have to equate this thing actually with the generic equation of the second order system, which was mentioned here. This is the thing, omega n square divided by S square 2 zeta omega n S plus omega n square. If you equate this thing, this equation, this very equation with this equation, you can find the value of, let me write it down as over here as well. So from this equation you see that the first thing that we have to do is basically we have to make this S alone, because there is T over here, so we have to take let me do it for you. So from this equation, how you can get the value of this omega n and this 2 zeta. So the first thing that you from this equation you have to take the T common. So if you take the T common, you will get remain with this K divided by S square plus 1 over T of S plus K over T. Now you got this thing, and take this k and this t as a constant and put it aside. Now you just have to take this thing and equate it with this thing. So from this thing you know that this omega n is basically nothing. Take this at a numerator. So this will become something like this: k by t in the numerator divided by s square plus 1 over t of s plus k over t. So you can see that this numerator is basically nothing but omega n square. So if omega n square, if you have to equate this equation with this, the numerator will be equal to the numerator and the denominator will be equal to the denominator. So if the numerator is equal to this numerator, so omega n will become a square root of this thing. So you get this value, square root of k by t. Similarly, with s there is 2 zeta omega n, and here with s is 1 over t. So this 2 zeta omega n will be equal to 1 over t. Now we have got the value of this omega n, and we have got this value of 2 zeta omega n. So from this you can get this t from here. You just have to take it on this side and multiply t on both sides. You will get t is equal to 1 divided by 2 zeta omega n, and you know that the value of zeta was given to us, that is 0.4, and the natural frequency we have found out is basically 1.14. So the capital T value turns out to be 1.09. Similarly, the constant k, from this equation you can see that this k will be equal to omega n square multiplied by t. If you find the value of k from this side, you can see that you will have to take the square again to cancel this square root, and this t will be multiplied over here. So k will be equal to omega n square multiplied by t, and you have to put the value of this omega n. This is basically 1.14, and t we have just found out the value of t, that is 1.09. If you multiply it, you can get the value of this k, that has turned out to be 1.42. So from this picture, just one picture, you have found out the values of, you have determined the you can say response of the system, and it turns out to be the value of percentage overshoot is 25.4, the value of damping ratio is 0.4, the peak time was 3, it was mentioned, and from that we found out the value of this natural frequency, and from that we have found out different parameters like t and k, which were mentioned in this graph, in this figure. Actually it's not the graph, it's a figure. So it was mentioned in the this figure, and we have found out the value of this k and this t. So this was all about the first part. I hope that you have learned quite a lot. If you have any questions, do not feel shy to ask. I will highly appreciate if you ask some good questions in the class. I'll see you in the second part of the question, in which we have started the stability analysis of any system. So I'll see you in the second part. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.